Quick video today, but I thought I would show you this one. Check out the quality of this bad boy. This literally is like it's just come from the factory. One of my favourite of the rescue radios, the ZX1. You'll see it's been featured quite a bit on the channel already, and one of my viewers has sent me this for a tune-up, and it almost got lost in the post. Goodness me, what a shame that would have been. But this literally is like new. Look at that. So I thought it'd be quite interesting just to do a quick video. We'll take some readings from this and we'll give it a quick tune-up, and you know, this. But I just thought I'd like to show you this as an example of what, you know, this gear can look like all these years later. I mean, obviously I don't think this was really used. Looking at this, it can't have been used. Certainly not been the back of an old Capri or an Allegro. Could you remember those with the square steering wheels? There. Look at that, absolutely, that is mint. Right, let's plug it in, we'll get some readings. And there it is, powered up. We've got our Squelch control here. So we can see that that's working straight away. Important to mention that you run these on 12.8 volts. So let's see what power it's doing when we transmit. We've got a high and a low switch, we'll start off in the high power setting. There we go, we're doing about 3.2 watts, which for one of these, I don't think it's probably going to do any more than that, I'll be honest. They often don't. 3.2 at 12.8 volts, that sounds to me pretty good. Let's see if it's on frequency. As we can see there, it's well within spec, 2779160. 1 2 1 2. Deviation could do with popping up a little bit. 1 2 1 2, testing 1 2. Yeah, could do with coming up just a bit more. Right, we just changed the radio into low power setting mode. We'll see what that's doing. So it's a little bit low. We're on the 2.5 watt scale there. So we'll bring that up to where it should be at 0.4 watt of a watt. And there you can see it's a PTBM153AOX board. This may well have been used in another set. I'm not fully aware that it was, but look at the quality. Don't get problems with dry joints on these sets, not that I'm aware anyway, and you can see why. I mean, look at these joints. God, if my joints were as good as this after 40 years, I'd be pleased. These really are in great condition. I can't see any dry joints on the back of there. Anyway, if you do take one of these apart, you need to remove those 4 screws on the back of the unit there that you see, and you shouldn't really need to do anything more else to the back. The rest of it has to be done very carefully from the front. Of course, what you need to do from the front is very carefully release these 3 control function knobs from the front. You don't have to touch this or anything else, but you do have to remove these. Now, do not be tempted to put screwdrivers or anything metallic or plastic underneath these to leave these off, because you will damage the edges of these. Do not put pliers or any grips on them, because you will damage them. Now I'll attempt to take these off just by my fingers. If I can't, I will wrap a ball of string around these controls and continually wrap the string around until it pulls these controls off. They can be tight, I'll warn you now, but this radio is absolutely immaculate, so I literally cannot leave a scratch on it, otherwise the the end user will be after me. And when you've got soft plastics, you don't want a really coarse ball of string either. As you can see around here, if you know, I mean, I know any kind of damage in terms of scratches that you do would be underneath the knob, but I use this. I think I got it from the pound shop. They come in a pack of 3, and it's nice and soft. It's almost like a soft wool, and it really does work great because it doesn't leave any marks at all. There we go, there's the first one off. I actually used a slightly different technique with that one. I actually wrapped the string around and then had to actually pull it up physically to remove it. But that was on there really tightly. But no harsh tooling required, just a piece of very soft string. And just wrap this round. That's literally all you do. Just keep wrapping it around until it comes off. Again, you could probably employ the technique where you pulled on this. That would probably work. But if we just keep wrapping the string round and round, eventually it will come off. And there you go, you can see. That's the technique, guys. Again, completely unmolested inside here. Look at that. Absolutely mint. And now there's no external speaker jack on this, so you have to do this if you want to take your Cynad reading. And for that we will simply clip onto the back of the speaker there with our leads, and we'll take a Cynad reading on channel 20 and see if we can improve receive. It's sounding pretty good. We're already at 0.13 of a microvolt here on receive, and we can hear it. We can hear it there. So again, I don't think we're going to bring receive up much. This is absolutely perfect. But you don't know that if you've got one in your collection. You don't really know if it's perfect or not, do you? So it's part of the reason that it's here, just so we can check it over and align it as much as it needs, and then get it back in one piece. Okay, there we go. It's doing 0.37 of a microvolt for 12 dB Cynad there, so that's pretty good for one of these. Let's just pop the Squelch up there. That's pretty good. I don't think we're going to improve on that, but we may well do. Now, from my notes, I've got some notes here. What is a good and what is bad and what's typical. So 3 watts transmit seems to be typical, and on the last set I did, receive at 12 dB was 0.95. So yeah, this is very good without any adjustment whatsoever. Okay, but let's go through the adjustment points. If you've got one of these, I know I've done these before, but I'll just quickly go through it, and so you can see what they are. In fact, I'll show you the picture. This is easier. So we've got deviation at the top, the RX meter there, TX power under that plate there, another TX power one there. You got your FM detector, and then you've got your receive coils there, and then your Squelch receive coils at the bottom. And if it's really low power, you can actually do a bit of coil stretching now, because now this one is aligned in doing what it should, 3 watts, and this is what the coils look like on this one. So if that's some reference for you, and I can pretty much guarantee this has never been taken apart before. So these coils here are how it's adjusted. I don't know if we can get another angle on that so you can see. So if your one is wildly out and Mr. Coil Stretcher has been in there, as they often have been, and has pulled it all out of alignment, this one seems to be in perfect alignment, and this is how, I think what you could argue that this is factory, how most of the radios should be set. Now of course there will be slight variations depending on the radios and who set them up in the factory, but that's how this one is set, and I'm not going to touch those. Right, so we're doing 3 watts according to this, just over 3 watts. Let's see if we can bring that power up a little bit. As I suspected, the answer is no. That is very good for 3 watts is typical for a ZX1. And I say I'm not prepared to stretch the coils. There is no need to do that, but you might be able to get a half a watt more maybe, but I'm not going to do that. Right, FM detector. We don't want that, do we? We want to bring the deviation up a bit, just a little bit low, and the deviation is hiding down through that hole there, underneath that hole. You can just see it shining there. That's your deviation, and that's the deviation adjusted. I did have to give that a little bit of a clean. That was a little bit intermittent until I did that. Right, deviation sounds good. It sounds much better on the Randy as well. Right, we'll get the scope powered up and we'll do receive. We'll set the FM detector first, and then we'll get receive all aligned. I don't think it's going to need much. Okay, it's now doing 0.27 of a microvolt, or 0.28 of a microvolt for 12 dB Cynad. I did pick quite a lot up off the detector. We got quite a lot more signal out. The detector was out, so that's good. We'll just adjust the Squelch now. So we'll set 100 microvolts on the signal generator, and we'll see where that's coming in. Alright, with the Squelch wound shut, it's not coming in just at the minute. We'll bring the Squelch back a little bit, show you. It's coming in there, so we need to adjust that up. So we'll adjust that off camera and test it. And the Squelch adjustment is just below the top of those two trimmers there. it's the lower one. Okay, and on the low end it's opening at 0.8 and it's going off at 0.3. So there's a wide hysteresis on the low end. We'll just double check it on the high end just to make sure we're okay there. Yeah, it's a bit of a compromise, this one. On the high end it's a little bit tight. It opens up. I have to set it so it opens at 50 there. If we go too far the other way, then on the low end it's not sensitive enough. So sometimes you do have to reach a bit of a compromise with the Squelch and get it somewhere in between. I know from what users say is they prefer the Squelch to be more sensitive at the low end than at the high end, because very often you're scratching around. You know, very often you're in a QSO with someone that isn't local, and so it's actually better to have a slightly more adjustable Squelch on the low end than at the high end. It's nice to have both, but sometimes you can't always get that. Alright, I did a bit more playing around. I've got it a bit more acceptable now, so we've got it working properly at the high end now and properly at the low end. It took a bit of messing around, and I got to give the trimmer a little bit more of a clean. I think there was a little bit of a dead spot on it which was throwing me, so yeah, I think all we got to do now is set the signal RX meter there. Alright, we've done the signal meter. We can button this one up, I think. I don't know if Mick's going to be around for a radio test. His shack is out of action at the minute. There's some building work being done, so I'm not sure. But you're all screaming at the set, I know. Low power adjust. Maybe there was something I'd forgotten. So let's do that now. Let's have a quick look at my picture. The low power adjust is that trimmer there, the one just below that little vertical board. That's the low power adjust, and we'll do that straight away. Right, you're looking at the lower scale with the 2.5 at the end of it, and we're looking to adjust this for 0.4. Okay, let's hit the transmit. There you go, you can see we're a little bit shy of that, so we'll just adjust it. We can adjust it way up to the full power, I would imagine. So let's just, you're slightly off axis with the meter there, so I'll just get in line with it myself. There we go, that's absolutely spot on. There we go, another one of these lovely radios. I mean, there wasn't a lot wrong with it, but another one of these lovely radios tuned now. Hopefully it won't need anyone to go in there for another 40 years, and trust me, these work so well. If you've not already seen these in action on the channel, go and have a little look. Right, I'm on the new on the Stereo mag mount antenna now, Mick. I wonder what difference that has made.
Yeah, the audio has come up quite a bit, Paul. Very good, actually. So fully readable. Still white noise, which we can't get away from. That's probably the distance now, but yes, the audio is remarkably better than what it was before on the external. Is it the stereo antenna you said?
And this is how they would have appeared in the retail capacity on the shelf, at least anyway, in this cardboard sleeve. You'd have seen these on the garage shelves when you popped in for your pint of milk and your copy of Razzle. And you'd have picked up one of these if you had any sense, because you weren't exactly going to pull out your mobile phone and use that, were you, back in 1980 something. Okay, so this is how they appeared in the retail capacity. A lot of the time on eBay you don't see them with this cardboard sleeve, so it's nice to show it off. It's a bit glary under the lights there, but there you do go. So yeah, lovely, one of the best of the rescue radios in my opinion. Many thanks for watching if you've made it all the way to the end today. Got another rescue radio coming up in the next video which has an interesting fault, so hopefully you might find that helpful if you've also got one. So keep an eye on the channel, and if you don't hear a notification, just check back and you'll see if there's a new video up. Take care, and we'll catch you again.